This little garden it's like a little hidden garden that we've come across is actually the Women's Memorial Garden, and it's dedicated to the pioneer woman of Victoria. It's a little enclosed garden. And there's some ladies having a birthday party. Australia has many different indigenous language groups and cultures. Victoria is made up of over 35 language groups. The city of Melbourne, originally known as Narum, and far-reaching surrounds forms the boundaries of the Wurundjeri traditional country. The Wurundjeri and neighbouring language groups, Boonwurrung, Watturong, Tangarang and Kurrang formed a nation of people for cultural, social and political issues. These lands hold stories from the dreaming to creation. Bunjil, the creator spirit taking the form of a wedge-tailed eagle, gave life to the first people, the rivers, the mountains, the trees and all creatures. Cultural practices continued and are now shared with all visitors, Yanibals, to these lands. The Wurundjeri invite you to take a leaf from the manna gum. Accepting this gift of the land means that you are welcome to everything from the tops of the trees to the roots of the earth. You are given freedom of the bush. We become linked symbolically, and you join with us to honor the spirits of our ancestors who nurtured this land for thousands of years. In the voices of our ancestors, Waminjeka, Wurundjeri Baluk, Yerman, Kundi, Bik, welcome to the land of the Wurundjeri people. And those are the words of Auntie Joy Wanden Murphy, Senior Woman Elder of the Wurundjeri people, on the 24th of January 2006.
Yeah, I know. What do you want?
We're heading up now towards the famous Block Arcade. And it's one of Melbourne's most grand and historic landmarks. The site of this Block Arcade was purchased for £18 in one of Melbourne's first land sales. It's also regarded as Melbourne's most famous boutique shopping experience, including stores such as Haig's Chocolates, The Art of Dr. Zeus, and of course the famous Hopetown tea rooms. Just look at the beautiful mosaics on the floor. There's a bit of history we'll talk about a bit further on. In the 1880s, doing the block became a favorite pastime of the Melbourne high society. People would parade for hours, holding polite conversations and visiting elegant boutiques and coffee houses. These mosaics are quite beautiful. There's the cat in the hat. This is the first Dr. Zeus shop I have ever seen. The artwork in this mosaic is just incredible.
I do like that.
You think of all the feet that have crossed these beautiful floors over the past years, and they still look so beautiful. There's a little alley down the side where people have coffee shops. A lot of really exclusive glassware, jewelry. Very upmarket. I love glass. The color of those pieces is just beautiful. So if we walk back down towards the entrance, here's the alpaca shop. There's a shop selling lovely essential oils with a little steamer outside. The scent was out of this world. It was absolutely beautiful. Little copper, looks like a copper cauldron. So if we walk down, we're heading towards the Hopetown tea rooms. The tea rooms were a very fashionable spot for lady shoppers to take lunch or afternoon tea. And they've been around for the last 130 years. They were named after their founder, Lady Hopetown, wife of the Governor of Victoria and first Governor General of Australia. The Governor General is, of course, the King's representative in Australia. The emerald green printed wallpaper, the etched mirror and chandeliers, white and gold fine bone china are much the same as it was back in the 1800s. So they've kept pretty much to the traditional decor at the time. And I have walked past these tea rooms where sometimes there have been queues of people right outside the building waiting to come in. You can see the beautiful green wallpaper, that lovely mirror. It really is an extraordinary place. The mosaic floor is apparently the largest mosaic floor in the southern hemisphere, and there's a very big, well, a magnificent glass dome at the top of the building. So there you can see since 1892. Lots of little tea places, psychic readings. That's the one thing about Melbourne. There's all these little alleys and it's almost French. You've got tiny little tables with tiny chairs and everybody's sitting cheek to jowl. Everybody's squeezed in and having some of Melbourne's famous coffee. Really is a beautiful place. There's the Charles Dickens Tavern. So, as I mentioned earlier, it was built in 1892 and the building was modelled on the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele in Milan. And all of these beautiful mosaics were imported from Italy. So what's lovely is they have the history of this building behind glass, so one can look at old photographs and read up. That's where I got a lot of the information from. I can just imagine people in the afternoon coming to take the tea. Right, we're walking back up the road past all the tram stops. This shop, Stetson Hats, has the most amazing selection of hats. Of course, one of the famous hats in Australia are the Okubras, which sort of looks like a cattleman's hat. Very expensive, very beautiful hats. There's the Okubra sign, so you can come and get fitted for your Okubra. Here we're back at Flinders Street Station. And as I've mentioned before, this was one of our first stops when we first came to Australia so many years ago. So it has a special little spot in our hearts. As we walk up the side of the station, there's a wall which has always been painted with the most amazing murals, and I think before it was just a wall of the station, but I think it is now part of a restaurant. So I see the mural has been changed, but it's worth just taking a look at. Very pretty. So we're just heading up there now. These are all the bicycles on the left. You can see that we can rent. Okay, the restaurant is called The Clocks. the mural. It's always sort of beautiful Australian animals. You can see the birds, and of course, I think I spotted a koala, tortoise, possums, all the birds. Beautiful. It also looks like little tiny mosaics. Colors are beautiful. Here we're heading towards the Royal Arcade. This was the first arcade in Melbourne, and it's the longest standing arcade in Australia. It was officially opened in 1870, and it was designed by the architect Mr. Charles Webb. He was a 19th century architect from Suffolk in England. The most striking feature of the arcade is the magnificent Gaunt's clock, which is flanked by two giant statues, which you can see up there, the mythical figures of Gog and Magog. These two 7-foot giants have been striking the time since 1892. They carved from clear pine and modelled on figures erected in London's Guildhall. They symbolize the conflict between the ancient Britons and the Trojan invaders. They were captured in the battle by the Trojans and made to serve as porters at the gateway of an ancient palace on a site later occupied by the Guildhall. Gog stands to the north and Magog to the south. On the hour, every hour, the clock strikes since 1892, and Gog and Magog strike the bells with their arms. People come from far and wide to see this spectacle. The arcade also features another symbolic statue called Kronos, and he's known as Father Time. If you look down the end of this little mall on the right hand side, here's a witch from the spell, I think it's the spell box. So she's obviously standing outside selling her wares. Macaroons, beautiful macaroons. The colors are always so beautiful. How can you not want to eat a macaroon? If I see a macaroon, I think of Alice in Wonderland. I'm sure she would have loved something like that. So you've got all these little sort of alleys coming off the main. So, alright, let's just see if we can see Father Time. Right, I think we're heading towards the other statue. Let's just have a look at this shop. This is beautiful. These are all the little Russian dolls. The shop is selling what we would call the matryoshka doll. That's what they were called in Russian culture. It's a nesting doll, and it's regarded as one of the most quintessential representations of traditional Russian peasant life. And I remember as a little girl being fascinated by how you could open one and get another, and then open that and then get another, until you left with this tiny little doll. So that was quite special to see all these little nesting dolls. As we walk down this little alley, I just want to see where we can focus on Kronos. So at the top there's Father Kronos with his angelic wings, and he's also known as the Father of Time. He's a Greek mythological character. So he stands in the one corner, diagonally opposite to Gog and Magog. You can see in his hand he's got an hourglass. Right, now we're heading back out towards, I would imagine it's Elizabeth Street. There's the famous Maya store, which is a beautiful department store. Stunning window dressing and at Christmas time. It's really an amazing, their bathrooms are wonderful. I'll go there just to go to the bathroom. And on the opposite side of the tram tracks, I can see there is a busker. Well, I can hear the busker. Was incredible. What a beautiful, what a lovely surprise. So that was an artist playing Another Brick in the Wall, one of Pink Floyd's famous songs from, I think it's probably 1978, which takes me back. I think that was the first record album, I can still see it. That was the first record album I bought as a youngster. And there he's sitting playing his electric guitar. Interesting fellow. It looks like he's wearing a World War II gas mask. So sort of you almost get the feeling of steampunk kind of look. But he's obviously really accomplished. Did a beautiful version there of Another Brick in the Wall. So that was a lovely surprise, and we are going to head up Elizabeth Street. You can see the trams coming down. There's a city circular train, which is the little green tram coming down, and that is a city, I think it's sort of like a little city loop tram. It's free of charge. It basically does a sort of a tourist loop around the city. So we're on our way back to the hotel, and we just passed this little lane, Beanie Lane, and this beautiful portrait caught my eye, so I thought I'd come down here. And then I spotted Spice Market, Bar Lounge, Mezzi, and there at the end of this nondescript little lane is the Spice Market Lounge, which you can be assured if you were to go in there, it's probably very upmarket. But again, so typical of Melbourne. And if I swing round, we've got Gucci over there. We've just passed the Chanel shop, and Gucci's on the opposite side. And we've got the Hyatt Melbourne, Grand Hyatt, with beautiful falcons in the front. I'm going to see if we can get a shot of them. Falcons. And there's a beautiful church. The afternoon light is lovely. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All the taxis are lined up. And there's another church opposite it, over there. And here we have Louis Vuitton. Okay, well, we'll catch up again just now. While we're standing at the traffic lights, I spotted this beautiful building. It looks Art Deco-ish. So we thought we'll just quickly take a video here. So it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're wrapping up our day in Melbourne. We're heading back to the flat, to the hotel. We just had a wonderful late lunch, and it's been an awesome day. Started off with the trip to the Fairer exhibition, and then a walk along South Bank, Southgate, towards Docklands, found an angel, and the sun is now setting, and it's the end of a perfect day in Melbourne. Thanks for coming along with us. And we'll catch up soon. That was where we had breakfast this morning, Cafe L'Encontro, and we walk up towards our hotel, and even the roads are beautified. And at the end of this little lane we have some, looks to me like sign language. At the end of that lane, and we've got someone playing the piano at the little breakfast bar, and then we head up towards our hotel, the Victoria Hotel, which you can see up there. And we've just spotted Rainbow Alley. So it's been a beautiful day. Pharaohs, angels, Rainbow Alley. Thank you, Melbourne. You didn't disappoint. It's been an amazing few days, and we've just had so much fun. And so much good food and so much good coffee. Come to Melbourne, you'll have a great time. Lots of love.